Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and then hopefully she'll be able to come on. We are scheduled for a hearing, a public hearing for the ordinance 4-20-20. And is there a motion for us to open up the session for our public hearing? Sound ordinance?
Yes, this is Councilmember Jackson. I'll make the motion as stated.
Okay, is there a second?
This is Councilmember Mendoza. I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so the public hearing is now open. So we introduced this bill 2 months ago, this ordinance, 2 months ago. I don't know, Mr. Bate, if you have the exact date when we actually introduced it for the record.
I don't have that readily available.
Okay, so I will state on this in this meeting that should be added to the record, the actual date, that it was 2 months ago to the day. And I hope that those who wanted to have had an opportunity to review it, go over the findings. As you know, we did not have a noise ordinance, and we worked with some residents in town and looked at many, many different ordinances from other different towns in order to try to come up with something that would work in our community. And as you know, the ordinances of Prince George's County are wide-ranging because there are many different areas of Prince George's County that some are rural, some are suburban, and some are somewhat urban as we are. So the focus pretty much is limit of noise. We've broken the rules down for different things. Is Mr. Barr on the line? So I'm not going to go back over the ordinance. We have submitted it out several times on email and on our website for a while for anyone to review. And after asking my council members if they have any comments, we will open it up to the public that's on the phone so we could get your thoughts and point of view. So council members, is there any council member who would like to make comment in relationship to the ordinance?
This is Councilmember Jackson. No, just want to open it up to the residents for their comments.
Okay. Any other council members?
No. This is Councilmember Mendoza. Just wanted to thank the residents that were involved in this. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. Well, that being said, is there any resident who would like to make some comment in relationship to the sound ordinance? Please state your name and the street that you live on.
Hi, this is Montel Millage. I live on 40th Avenue, 3415. The only thing that I had any concern with would be like the pet policy. I do have 3 dogs, and getting home late from work sometimes could lead me to letting my dogs out late. And with this ordinance, it may be problematic for me to be able to take out my dogs at the time that I do get home because of the work hours. I know it said 30 minutes of barking, but if something like that coincide with like the hour of 11 o'clock in which I walk in the door and I want to take my dogs in the backyard.
I guess I'm hearing from what you said, they're barkers?
No, they're not, actually. They're all pretty subtle. They bark when other people are around playing music, which I do believe should subside. The playing of the music in the neighborhood at 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. But, you know, sometimes we have raccoons and possums that scurry about the neighborhood, and they're barking to protect the residents. And I may not hear them for one reason or another. They're in the yard. They will not leave the yard. But they're barking to protect the residents. And I'm showering or whatsoever. You know, things of that nature.
Understood. I mean, I personally, I would just say, I think that a lot of times it comes down to your relationship with your neighbors. And we have a wonderful town we live in, and we should be able to function together. You know, I have a barker, and she's going to bark when a car pulls up at the house. Definitely if somebody walks through the door, doesn't matter who it is. So she's a really nice, wonderful dog. So I hope that, you know, people who are around are accommodating. Generally outdoors, she's not a barker. Pretty much it's more of a protective mechanism inside the house. But we will put that down and mark down if there's anything that we can do, adjust that to see how many more people might have the same issue. So we'll put a feeler out and just see if there's more people who are concerned about that.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. Like, the thing that I want to get to the bottom of is if they are barking late at night, of course, I will want to, like, go forth, bring them inside, make sure that they have done their business, and, you know, they bring them away from the neighbors that are sleeping. But if they are barking late at night, I get home at 11, and it's 11:45, and they're barking. Are the police going to show up at my residence?
If there's somebody who complains, probably, but not just because, but not probably not likely if it's just because it's happening. This is not intended to be punitive. This is intended to support people or protect people from problem noise, hurting someone or bothering someone. So if it's not, and you know, and I encourage people, if you have an issue with the sound, that's the whole purpose of us having an ordinance, is that we back up the ability of the police to ask for a reprieve from whatever's going on. But what was your last name again? I'm sorry, I missed, and I can't recognize the voice.
Millage?
You said millage?
Yes.
Could you spell that?
Millddge. So mill and then edge.
And first name, please, for the record.
Montel.
Malcolm.
Montel.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Well, thank you very much for your comments. Any additional comments you have about it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on and offering your thoughts. Do I have any other residents who would like to speak up about their thoughts?
Yes. Hi. Good evening. This is LaToya Walker. I'm on 43rd Avenue, and I am not familiar with the ordinance that you guys are referencing. I did hear from the previous caller that 11 p.m. is the cutoff time. Can you please let me know what is the beginning time?
Chief, have you looked over this and sort of kind of get an idea on where it is?
It's different hours for different things. Basically the using of, operating of, or permitting to be played use or operate any radio, receiving set, musical instrument, phonograph, rather machine or device reproducing or reproducing sounds is from 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. is prohibited, Sundays through Thursdays, and 11 p.m. Friday, and 20 hours, 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday, and 8 a.m. Saturday and Sunday morning. Some of the other things have other time frames. A lot of them are from 8 a.m. And 8 p.m. And some of them, such as the dog barking, doesn't have a limit. So if a dog is barking for 30 minutes, I believe that is at any time, that is a nuisance. So, you really have to look at the full ordinance in order to, see what all the specific time frames are.
Okay, thank you. I think you pretty much answered my question. It was more directed as it relates to noise instruments or tools running.
Thank you so much for your comment. I really appreciate it. It's important to also note that us being a small town, there are ways to accomplish what you might want to do as a temporary matter with your neighbors. And so encouraging folks to work with their neighbors if there's an event or situation that they would like to do outside of these terms, and to reach out to the town and let us know if you have some consensus, so that if there's a circumstance, it's known ahead of time. Because from time to time there may be situations where you want to engage a special event. And so we should be able to work together on those kind of things. More comments, please.
Yes, good evening. This is Deborah Williams of Newark Road, 4201. And I wanted to inquire about the 8 a.m. beginning of any type of machinery, et cetera, or as part of this ordinance, if you will. I have experienced, or we have experienced, I should say, operation of machinery, cutting of, the grass and the blowers and things of that nature, particularly on the weekends before 8 a.m. So I'm not certain if that's something, I know it's supposed to, that this is an ordinance that's going to be put in place. If I'm correct with that. But we have a lot of that, and I don't know if that's coming from Burger King or McDonald's, or if it is the business that's in front of, or next to, I should say, adjacent to the old car wash. But they come down, and on the side across the street from me on the Newark Road side, where, they're doing this before 8 a.m. on the weekends.
Okay, being noted, we will have to, right now, this ordinance is in the hands of our residents and hasn't been extended through the businesses at Cadet. Once we actually do pass the ordinance, it will be submitted to the businesses so that they're aware of what our rules are. And so they will need to abide by the rules as they become a part of those rules that we finalize as the sound ordinance is actually adopted. So we can, so to answer your question, as we stated in here, once we've adopted this ordinance, it will be sent to them. And so if someone's doing that now, they will need to stop. And we will be proactive as it relates to that when we do have someone on duty with the opportunity to check on that to see if that's happening.
Thank you.
And you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who's next?
Hi, this is David Smith, 3602 41st Avenue.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was looking over the first part of the ordinance, the prohibitions, and it does state the 10 p.m. Cutoff time during the week and 11 p.m. on the weekends, but it mentions length away from that the noise has to be audible of 30 feet and 50 feet, which for the town, as we were discussing when we were talking about the ordinance, the houses are so close together, and it may be easier to use property lines as opposed to feet and length away from a noise source to sort of measure where that noise is coming from or how far that noise should be heard away from it. Because if you're saying 30 feet and 50 feet, if someone is in the backyard, the yards are 10 feet away from the noise source. If you're saying 50 feet, that person is going to think they can still make an audible noise. So I think property lines might be a better measurement. That was my biggest comment with that. Everything else seems to be in line with the county. That one's a little bit stricter than the county, but by saying 30 feet and 50 feet, it sort of undermines that, and because of the way the neighborhood is situated.
Okay, thank you for the comment. Okay. Anybody next?
Yeah, this is
Hi,
Kurt.
this is Ashley Marquez.
Okay, hold up. I think I heard Kurt first. Go ahead, and we'll catch up with you second.
Just reiterating my efforts to address train horn signaling, and maybe I'm a bit sensitive to noise, but it's really due to consideration of the neighbors. And if I have to hear background noise, I don't know what decibel it is in my living room, or I'm watching a movie, that's a little bit much. I personally drive an electric hybrid car, and I have a push mower, but I also have a power saw that every now and then goes on during the daytime. But it's infrequent. And I just think a lot of residents don't know about how sound easily traverses property lines. One can affect dozens of residences and produce this background unwanted, and so if it's hard to regulate consideration, but I would prefer it to be quiet so we can all live in peace.
Thank you for your comment. Can you state your last name and your street number for the record?
PluntkE on 40th Avenue.
I think that white guy, right?
Is that all, Kurt?
Yeah, that's it. Because I had attended the noise meeting in the spring, was it? So
yes.
I had some comments there as well.
Okay. Go ahead, my next speaker.
Hi, this is Ashley Marquez, and I live on 40th Avenue. I just wanted to know that if we decided to throw a party or something, would we have to ask for permission for that? Or would the neighbors just be able to call the cops on us if we have like a party or something? Are we not allowed to play any music?
No, the idea. Well, and one question I have that I need to address to the attorney, and because there's one piece that I'm confused about. On B, and maybe Dan, maybe you've observed this a little bit better than me. On B, double I, and then we go to B5. One says not to play midnight to 8 a.m., and the other one is the 11 o'clock during, 10 o'clock through Thursday and the 11 o'clock, sort of contradicting something there.
Little
Marcus,
B,
go
little
ahead.
B2.
Okay, I had a question about the cars. If we're driving up to our driveway, to our house, do we have to turn off our music as soon as we get into this neighborhood? Because that doesn't seem fair if it's never been a problem before.
Okay, let me finish up by getting your whole name. You said Marcus?
Marquez.
Marquez? And your
Yes.
last name?
No, Marquez is my last name. Ashley is my first name. Ashley Marquez.
Oh, can you spell it?
Yes. Ashley, Marquez.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So, are you talking about driving up to your house?
Yes, like when I drive up to my house, am I not allowed to play any music in the car?
At what time of the day?
Any time of the day?
So these rules really only apply pretty much from the hours of 10 p.m. at night when it comes to the playing of music. Now, certain things like the barking of the dogs, that's any time, where we set that up to be if the dog is barking for more than 30 minutes, then we need to do something about it. In terms of certain things like whether or not somebody can start machinery or what time of the day when somebody can mow their lawn, those have varying practices. But when it comes to the playing of music, radios, televisions, and things like that, those are basically up to the hours of 10 p.m. in some cases, up to 8 a.m. in the morning, in most cases. So it probably would be polite that if you come in town after 11 o'clock at night, that you might want to turn your music down as you come inside, or close the windows or something like that. If that can be considered reasonable, but it's not at all hours of the day.
Yeah, and you can play the music in your car as long as you can hear it 50 feet from the car. So we're not saying you got to turn the radio off. You just, can't be blasting it during those hours. So you can definitely play your music as long as it's not, someone 50 feet away from your car isn't able to hear it during those hours.
Okay. I also read that. What about like babies? Let's say I went to the park and my niece was crying. Is someone going to complain that my niece is crying? I cannot stop her crying immediately. I
don't think that we address. In here we talk about the use of operating or permitting to be played, used, or operated any radio, receiver, music instrument, phonograph, machine. We also address machinery. We address yelling, shouting, hooting, hollering, whistling, and singing. We address lawnmowers. We address motorbikes, but I don't think that we made an address. Is there a general level something here that might be impacted by baby crying? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so we are in quarantine, yes. So so we do not have the greatest relationship with our neighbors. So if we are playing, let's say we decide to mow our lawn at some point, would they be able to just make a complaint about us? Or can we just only normally live our lives from 11 to 8 a.m. and hope that no one complains about us?
So you're meaning like mowing your lawn at 11 p.m.?
No, I mean like, you said from 2 to what time that I couldn't mow my lawn?
Okay, let's see. Lawnmower. Where's the lawnmower?
We also have to be very aware of what time it is in order to do the things that we would normally do with no time limit now.
It's really if you just use common sense and you know don't have a lot of noise coming from your house, or you know if you're living a normal life and are considerate of your neighbors. That's really all that the ordinance covers. You know, I you know, if you have you had a chance to read the ordinance?
Okay, but what I'm asking is, though, my neighbors and I do not have a very good relationship. So if they were to make a complaint, you know, in order to like get us in trouble, we're not going to get in trouble for that, right? Like even if we weren't being controlled.
Yeah. If anything happens, if the police are called, they will come out. They'll ask you, most likely, if your music's too loud, they'll ask you to turn your music down. If they say that someone was yelling and screaming, they'll ask you, hey, we had a complaint, someone was yelling and screaming. You know, is there everything okay? Is there anything that we should be aware of? You say no, they go, okay. If they have multiple complaints continually, then they will probably fine you, which the fine is up to $100. But you know, we're a small town, and you know, if you're trying to comply, that's really what we're asking for, and just making everyone aware of you know what you can and can't do. You know, and if you're doing your best, you know, we understand that. You know, so you know, if you're doing your best, you know, I think it's okay.
All right. I don't know if it was already addressed, but for the TV, I can keep my TV at the bottom. Right?
Wait a minute, you just broke up. Say it again.
I could keep my TV at the volume that I want to, right? Like I wouldn't have to listen to it super quiet.
Okay, so you said something about TV, and then you broke up. You said you could keep your volume.
TV, would I be able to watch the TV volume at the same that I would like to, as long as it's not like, you know, at volume 100?
Well, currently, if it's disturbed somebody with 50 feet away, then if you have a television on and somebody can hear 50 feet away, that's a pretty loud television. So what we tried to do with the ordinance was to base it on specific things that, it's not a general ordinance. So I'll give you an example. Years ago, Prince George's County had an ordinance where you just couldn't, nobody should be hearing anybody else after 11 o'clock at night. And that was just it, period. They did not try to be specific about anything, other things like which Ms. Williams just mentioned about the businesses in the morning, starting up before. That wasn't included at all. So they were just one thing. Later on, they changed to where it was just distance. So it was like, well, if you can hear me from past this distance, then it's too loud no matter what time of the day it is. So what has been happening most recently is everybody's trying to be more specific. You know, lawnmowers specifically, you know, construction early in the morning, noise, loud music late at night, ice cream trucks, certain times of the day. So everything was designed to sort of like, let's be very specific to the specific thing. And so I would believe in the case of your television set, that's going to come down to how far away can somebody hear it from your home, because someone else is watching television in their home. And so if you've got competing televisions because they're all so loud, then no one's watching television at all. I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
Also, you said that the dogs, I wasn't sure if you said anything about dogs, but the dogs, they bark, you know, sometimes when we get home or if somebody is walking by the house in order to protect the house. And sometimes they'll bark if they, like, you know, hear an animal in the backyard, like a stray cat or something, how are we supposed to stop them from barking? The dogs also bark to communicate with other dogs and other ones as well.
So in the ordinance, and I should have mentioned this also when we were talking with Malcolm, the ordinance it states if a dog is consistently barking for more than 30 minutes at a time, then that should be reported. And then if somebody's available to come and see, that officer will be, or code enforcer will be checking the conditions to see what the circumstances are. So it's not like your dog just barked because somebody came up to the house, or just barked because there's some danger. If a dog is barking for 30 minutes, it's likely that there is a problem somewhere, and we definitely want to go and check it out and see what's going on. So that's what our intention is. It's not that your dog won't bark at all.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for those questions. If you have any more, continue.
No, that's all. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in. All right. Who do we have next? Come on. I see more people are here.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello. This is, I'm sorry, this is Yesenia Villatoro, live on 40th Avenue also. I'm Ashley's mother.
Okay. And can you spell your name out, please?
It's Yessenia. And the last name is V as in Victor, Illatoro.
Okay.
Okay,
Dan?
I have,
Yes.
you got it?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I have a problem and a concern about all these new rules that we have. Everybody don't have the same working schedule. Everybody who comes home on different and leave home at different hours. For example, my personal car, every time I turn it on, the radio goes very loud. I cut it off, of course, but it goes loud. It's automatic, and there's no way I can turn it down without cutting it off. I'm not going to do that every time because sometimes I forget. And another thing, you say 50 feet away. We don't live 50 feet away. We actually next doors to the neighbors. And every neighbor don't get along with everybody. And, of course, people playing music in Spanish most of the time because our block is majority Spanish on the 40th Avenue, especially on the area where I live. And they're going to be complaining, first of all, because they don't understand the music. They will be complaining. I'm going to cut my grass early in the morning sometime before I go to work. I have to be at work at 8, so I'm going to cut it before 8 o'clock. And on the weekends, I got things to do too. My schedule varies. My schedule is not a set time and a set date. So, and I don't understand why are we changing to so many new rules lately. I've been living in that house for more than 11 years now, and then up with the sudden these new rules coming up. Personally, and my family too, feels that we live in an apartment lately. We can't do nothing. We can move. The dogs bark for everything. If you move on the other side, the dogs be barking. Can play the TV. You can play the music. We can even fix our house, use the machines or nothing. So that's the point. It's better to live in an apartment, don't you think, instead of be paying all these taxes as this former mayor.
Thank you for your comments. I kind of do feel like, just in listening to your comments, that you might believe that these are more restrictive than they are. When you look at the individual line items, this is just not like a straight line across the board on everything. You still, I feel like, we try to put a lot of work in caring about all people with all different opinions. And we made an effort to do this. It is a very normal thing to have a sound ordinance in a municipality. In a lot of cases, we follow ordinances of Prince George's County, and so therefore that's what we follow. It wasn't realistic for us to continue to follow the ordinances of Prince George's County because they don't work for this town. So having a sound ordinance is a normal thing. Let me just first say that. But this in no way is intended to make you not be able to enjoy yourself in your own home, in your own yard. These restrictions are, we're trying to balance out what may be alarming to someone while not being overly impactful to someone else. So in the specifics in the ordinance, we really do try a balance. We're not trying to stop you from living in your home and enjoying this beautiful town of Colmar Manor. That's not where we're going with this. This is a beautiful place to live, and you know, I bought my house in 1983 and love this place, and I also like to be able to enjoy being out in my backyard and, you know, enjoying time. So we're just trying to balance things so they can work everybody. And so we do a little compromise here and a little compromise there and see how we go. I hope that helps, but I'm open to whatever else you have to say.
Yes, I'm sorry, but the town, Colmar, Manor has changed. I moved in there, I bought my house in 2008, and I moved at the beginning of 2009. Everything used to be better at that time. Like, for example, when we have snow removal more often than we have this time. It's been a few years lately that we don't have the service that we used to have. And the taxes are going higher and higher every year. And if I find out that I'm paying more to Colmar Manor than PG County, Texas. So, and the police, haven't seen a police in Colmar Manor for probably 2 or 3 years now. And when they do, and when you do see them, they're going to be up in a place around on Bladensburg, probably eating or drinking coffee. I don't know, but I've seen them in there. And as far as I know, if we're paying for police service, it says Colmar Manor. It don't say no Bladensburg. It doesn't say no Carter City. It says Bladensburg. So I don't see them. And when you see them, we have an accident like across from our house. They came and beat up some people in their house years ago. And that's what I mean.
I want to ask you if you can make sure you stay on the line when we go into our general session. The chief will be available in our general session, and I would love for you to, you know, bring up the points that you have so that he can tell you where we are today on those matters. But for this hearing, I need for us to really focus on the sound ordinance. But we're open for public comment in the general meeting, and we're going to hear from you.
I'm sorry, but this meeting is concerning everything, man, because I feel myself that I'm living in a place I cannot even enjoy my house. If I come out, I feel that I'm going to be judged or I'm going to be called the police or whatever. That's the way I feel. And I don't have a house. I own a house. I don't own an apartment. I don't own a condominium. It's just a house. And this is one of the reasons I choose to buy a house. Because I don't want to live the life that you live in an apartment or a condominium or a townhouse. It's a single family house.
So if you can be more direct with me, if you can share with me what you actually see in this ordinance that makes you feel like it's giving you that kind of limitation. Because what we want to do is when we actually go away from here, we're going to take all of your comments and communicate with one another as a council to see what we might change here or there. So the more specific you can be about what you see in the ordinance that is troubling, the better off we'll be able to see what we can do about it. So what specifically in the ordinance are you seeing that might infringe on your enjoyment of your home?
Hours.
The hours?
No whistling, no yelling, no TV, no music, no machinery, no lawnmower, everything. No dogs barking. It's ridiculous. So you think it's okay? So you think a dog